Welcome. Fourth and 9 to victory. We're here for our USC versus Michigan post-game review. Man, definitely feeling a lot better after this week's game than 2 weeks ago against Illinois. Our USC Trojans at home in the Coliseum, jam-packed. No matter what the Michigan coach said, it was full of cardinal and gold. Just an electric environment, man. The crowd played a great part. So thanks to all the fans that did make it out to the game. If you didn't catch our live, we have a couple of our viewers that support us. You know, they were at the game. They called in live from the game. We was able to see the environment. So just awesome, Baby T, awesome Tobias. Man, definitely appreciate it. Even the Like the Torch podcast guys was at the game live and actually was able to see the Coliseum when they called into USCJ show. So shout out to USCJ, Like the Torch, you know, all our family and networks, Polly, Walnuts, and Preston. Oh, man.
Carter,
so
we get Carter Sports.
Carter Sports. Yeah, man. We missed you this weekend, Carter. We missed you, man. Lock in with us. Let us know you're okay, everything, brother. But definitely the USC Trojans, victorious. They beat Michigan Wolverines 31-13. So shout out to our USC Trojans. All right, man. Let's get into it. Excited to talk about this game. As always, you know, we start off with, you know, Victory Sunday. No matter if we win or lose, we want to start off with Victory Sunday because we support these kids. We support this team no matter what. So we just want to start with what did USC do well in this game and what we need to continue to do just to continue to lead to the success of the team going forward.
Okay. What we did well was pretty much next man up. We had two running backs to go down. We had King Miller to step in and do his thing. We'll get into the stats later on. We even had Brian Jackson to suit up in the second half, come in. I was a little hesitant about that, but I want to give a special shout out to our running back coach, Anthony Jones Jr., for having these guys prepped and ready. So next man up mentality, just like we did along the offensive line. We lost a couple players. We lost our center, lost our left tackle. Next man up filled in. So that's what we did well, man. And I'm looking forward to these kids building onto this victory from this past Saturday against Michigan.
Yeah, man. And basically, my top thing is exactly what you said. Next man up mentality. I just worded different. Right. Is that we overcame adversity. Right. Like you said, we lost Waymo. We lost Eli Sanders. King Miller came in and just absolutely did King Miller things. What we've been seeing, right. What you've been calling for. Again,
right.
Again, another player.
That first string offensive line, man. Yeah.
Last year was my idol. You was caught this year from the first game. You were like, you kept saying, Chris, I was like, man, we got three backs. We're good. I said he was good, but you was like, I want to see him with the first group, you know?
Right.
And we seen it, and he did the same thing that he did when he played with the second group and the limited action he got in the first two games, breaking long runs. Yesterday he broke 2 or 3 long runs. We're gonna get into that more as well. So not only did we face adversity, with shout outs to the whole team, right? And if we miss someone, it's not nothing against you. It's just we don't have enough time to be able to put everybody. But you know, shout out to Gianni Reed, right? His first start, you know, coming at center. We didn't miss a beat. We thought Elijah Page might play. He didn't play, but shout out to this mix and match of this offensive line again. Like didn't miss a beat on that. And it's just responding to adversity, not just with injuries, but during the game. There were times in that game where I'm sure USC fans were kind of cringing, like, here we go again, right? We have a chance to go 14. Defense gets 2 stops on the first 2 drives. We fumble in the red zone. Not only that, in the second half, we had another opportunity. You know, we was up 14 to put the game away. We throw a ball. The referees didn't challenge it. I don't know why they didn't challenge it. They called it incomplete. Makai Lemon was in. You know what I'm saying? Right? Our coaching staff didn't challenge it. I don't know why we didn't. He was clearly in. And the next play after that, Makai Lemon gets a personal foul, and we're in 3rd and 22. And again, it's like, here we go. And what we do the very next play, we explode for a 40-some yard run, right?
Yeah.
Hey, adverse situations. On that same drive, we throw an interception in the red zone, right? They come out.
Which was ill-advised pass. Mama knew it was ill-advised. He knew it.
Yeah, should have thrown it. And I rewatched the game. We didn't even have a receiver there. He was trying to throw it away. He should have just threw it away out of bounds. Never throw the ball away inside the field of play, right? They made a good diving catch. But again, the defense, they responded on that play. Yes, Michigan went down the field, but Bishop got the first of his 2 interceptions right there and got the ball back, and we was able to go down, kick a field goal, and go up 17. So responded to adversity. What we must continue to do that we did well is that defensively, oh my God, they stopped the run, right? We came in, and the biggest key to this game was stopping the run. Michigan, we held Michigan to 109 yards on the ground.
Right.
A team that was averaging over 200, who their coach Shamon Moore said they were going to come in and out physical us, right? Everybody coming into the game because Michigan is coming. And we held them to 109 yards. We held Justice Haynes to, I know he got hurt in the first half, but we held him to, he was averaging 7 yards a carry coming in. We held him to way less than that. We held them to, they were averaging over 200, we held them to 109. So well below their average. So continue to stop the run. The physical play. This game was won with physicality.
In the trenches. It was won in the trenches.
Yes. And not only with the physical play in the trenches, but even our corners and safeties, they were making one-on-one tackles in open field, and they was coming with violence, right? Offensive line with violence, running backs running with physicality, right? Continue that physical play, and as well, Riley and offense, just keep doing what you do. Like, hey, just keep doing
we had a balanced attack. As a matter of fact, I think we had more rushes than we had passing plays. Excuse me.
And we've had that all year except one game, and that was against Illinois because we were down 14 and all that. But offense, just keep doing what you do. The offense have been playing with a high level. All they got to do is cut the turnovers out, and they're straight. Nope, they have been playing at a high level all year. So offense, keep doing what you do, and that is our victory Sunday. We keep doing it, we'll be all right. All right. Moving on to our next segment. Here we just want to review the game stats. We're not going to give our grades and all that. We have that video where we review and give a report card out. Grades are going to be a lot better. I know from my side from 2 weeks ago. I feel safe saying your grades are going to be a lot better too.
Yeah, a lot better this week, man. A lot better this week.
Yeah, and so we just want to go over who our leaders was. And just give you some of the stats from yesterday. Jaden Maiava, I think we both agree. As long as USC continue to win, I have him at. No one is playing better quarterback than Jaden Maiava right now. In the country all year. 25 or 32. That's efficient, man. 25 or 32, 265 yards, 2 TDs. He did have that one pick. He definitely should have threw it out of bounds. And not especially because we was at least had a guaranteed 3 there. King Miller was our leading rusher, 18 carries, 158 yards, and a touchdown. That's an 8.8 average. Amazing. USC had 225 yards total on the ground. Waymon Jordan had a 3.5 average. He had 11 carries for 39 yards. Byron Jackson, shout out to the kid, man. We have to get a special exemption from the NCAA during the game because our top 2 running backs went out. Riley mentioned they called to get approval due to wellness since we only have 1 running back and, for the safety of Miller, not to be out there exhausted. And the NCAA got back to him. Shout out to NCAA. I'm surprised they did that for us.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they did that for us. How they did it
for us, man. I was surprised they even answered the phone. They saw us calling. I'm surprised they even answered the phone.
But NCAA approved it, so Byron Jackson wasn't even dressed out. And so third quarter, he went and got dressed out and came out and balled like he's been playing all year. And we finally got word of what's been hampering him this year. And it was a turf toe that Riley said after the game. And so they was going to sit him out another week and bring him in next week. But due to the situation, hey, Byron said, put me in, let me play. And he did his thing. Wide receiving, Makai Lemon. A lot of USC fans, well, all USC fans are saying he's the best wide receiver in the country. We have one USC fan that's saying Jacoby Lane is. So we'll say he's not. So we'll say Makai Lemon, depending on who you are, the best wide receiver in the country or the second best wide receiver in the country behind Lane. However you see it, led the team again in receptions with 9 receptions, 93 yards with a 10.3 average, 1 touchdown. They got Jacoby Lane, that 1A, 1B, however you want to put it. 5 receptions, 35 yards with a 7-point average and a TD. Good to see that kid back on the field. Our tight ends. B. Jenkins brought up the tight ends in our film study and the effect that they would have on this game, right? Which he was spot on because Walker Lyons and Lake McCree, again, with timely catches deep across the middle to keep drives going. Walker Lyons had 2 receptions for 42 yards, 21-yard average. Lake McCree had 2 receptions for 41 yards, 20.5 average. That's big. Between our two tight ends, they gave us almost 100 yards. Right. That's amazing. You can't double our receivers on the outside, or these tight ends are going to get you. Defensively, Bishop Fitzgerald led us. He had 2 interceptions, his second 2 interception game this year. We're not surprised, as always. Eric Gentry led the team in tackles, 6 tackles, 5 solo. Fitzgerald also tied for the team lead in sacks. He had 1 sack. Cameron Crawford had a half a sack, and Jade Abasari had a half a sack. And no, I'm sorry, I'm looking at tackles for loss. So sacks, Bishop Fitzgerald had a sack, but Devin Tompkins led us with 2 sacks, right?
Okay.
Yeah, Devin Tompkins played well. He led us with 2 sacks. By far, the Carlos Nicholson, outside of Fitzgerald's interceptions, the Carlos Nicholson was our best corner on the day. Right?
He's been performing really well here lately. Yes. I'm really proud of that kid.
He was beat on 1 touchdown, but we could live with that because he had 2 pass breakups and he had more plays where he was in perfect coverage and the ball was incomplete because he was locked down. So excellent game on that. King Miller led us with kick returns, so he had 2 totaling 45 yards. So even at kickoff return, he was explosive. He had a 22.5 average on his kickoff return on those 2. Of course, we only have 1 kicker playing, but Ryan Sierra, oh my God.
Wait, he hit a 53-yarder?
Yeah, 54 yarder, and he had some more distance, man. Congratulations to this kid. I know earlier in the year he missed 1 field goal. It was like, man, we can't have all these missed field goals and things like we had last year. But he stepped in and he's been on point. He wasn't even a projected starter coming into the season, but the kid has been awesome on kickoff returns. I mean on kickoffs, kicking balls out the end zone, and his field goal kicking, he's definitely stepped up. And to make that 54-yard field goal to put us up 17 in the second half, that was so big. So shout out to him. So that's the quick stats. Be on the lookout Tuesday. We'll get into our position grades and break things down even more. But for now, we're going to move on to our next segment. This segment we call Men Lie, Women Lie. Numbers never lie, but numbers can be misleading. And what this is that many times if you don't watch the game and you just look at the stats don't tell the whole story. They're not lying because it happened, but it can be misleading. And so in this segment, we like to look at certain stats from the game that if you didn't watch the game and you just looked at the stats, you wouldn't really understand how the game went or total domination or lack of domination or what happened that tells the whole story. So B, what was the stats that you're looking at that you think can be misleading if you didn't watch the game just from looking at stats?
Well, and I believe I'm going to say the same thing that you're going to say, that the outcome, the final score of the game, this should have been worse. We left at least at minimum 6 points on the field and at most 14 points on the field. Think about it. And the same thing happened during the Illinois game when we were on a drive. Sure, it wasn't as impactful in this game as it was in the Illinois game, in my opinion. But what happened? Untimely fumble. We're going in for the score, getting into the red zone. Tight end catches the ball. And shout out to Lake McCree. You know, that kid will bounce back. But a tackle comes in from the blind side. It was a good legal hit. Hard hit though. and it fumbled the ball. That touchdown could have been the one that broke, Michigan's spirit early, because there was nothing they could do to stop us. Second time, we're driving down the field. We spoke to it earlier in our victory to Sunday opening segment where Maaba turned the ball over, and he has progressed. I'm really impressed with his maturation, but again, those untimely turnovers could be the deciding factor in the game. Just so it happened that our defense stepped up today, didn't allow anything, to happen that has haunted us in the past. Again, we'll get into that, maybe later on in the segment, but those were the misleading stats. This win at in dominating fashion could have been a lot worse. We talk about at least 40-13.
Yeah, and that's one of mine too that I was going to say is the final score, right? At least if we don't score a touchdown while we within the 10-yard line on both those possessions and we get field goals, the score would have been 37-13. We scored two touchdowns, which I believe we would have because they struggled to stop us all game, right? We only had one punt. The score would have been 45-13. So the final score is not really telling the entire domination that we really had this game. Like the game was never in question really outside of the first quarter when they tied it up. But we got the ball back and went right down the field before halftime and scored a touchdown, right? And so it's not telling the total domination. This was the score is not showing blowout, but this was really a blowout. And if the game would have been closer, yes, those turnovers we had in the turnover would have been more impactful than the ones in Illinois, because the ones in Illinois we wasn't even in scoring territory. But we're actually in scoring. We were actually in scoring territory this game, and we just got to cut out those turnovers. So definitely the final score doesn't tell the true story of how Michigan had no answer for our offense, like defensively. They were showing their defensive coordinator during the game, and he just looked defeated because it was like no matter what I call, he didn't remember I said, man, he looked defeated, like he about to cry. It's like he's like, no matter what I call, no matter we just don't have an answer. Like it's kind of how we felt when we were playing Illinois. It's like we just don't have an answer, right? And so that was it. The second thing I'm going to say is Bryce Underwood ended up with 207 yards passing. If you look at that, you would think he was carving us up. He really wasn't, right? He had a 60
Tell him where it came from. Tell him where it came from.
He had a 68-yard touchdown in late in the game that them yards came from, right? He was 15 or 26. So he wasn't just carving us up. You take away that 68 yards, and basically what happened on that play, we was in cover 2. The corner was doing his job, right? He was sinking. Safety was supposed to have over top. Safety was actually there. Safety just took a bad angle, missed the tackle. But it's not like he was just carving, eating the defensive backfield up, right? A chunk of his 207 yards came off of one play. So those are the two stats from the game that is very misleading and not telling the whole story of the game. All right, moving right along. Our next segment, never accept anything in the win that you win in the loss. Again, this segment is dedicated to, though we won, and we won in the fashion that a lot of people wanted to see was us playing Big Ten football. We beat Michigan at their game, basically out physicaling them, out rushing them, just dominating the line of scrimmage. But there's still some things in the game that as a coach, you have to clean up, right? And even though you won, you can't accept it because when you get into a closer game and things like that, it can come back to haunt you. So never accept anything in a win that you wouldn't in a loss. What did you see yesterday, B, that you can't accept even though that we did win the game?
Well, I spoke to it in the last segment, the turnovers. You're driving down the field, and you got to think about it. We had all of the momentum in the world. We're going in for, I think that would have put us up, by 2 scores, right? And
which one?
The tight end fumble.
Yeah, the first one would have put us up by 14. The second one would have put us up by 21.
Right. But you talked about that, getting our in our pregame video about getting out fast and going up at least 2 scores and forcing Michigan into doing something that they're not accustomed to doing. So for me, it would be the turnovers. I mentioned it again last week. We well, not last week, but week before last in the Illinois game, we had another turnover going in for a score. Defender come from the blind side, knock the ball out. Same thing what happened with our tight end. And again, I believe that these kids are clean this up. You know, they have the best intentions, but sometimes you got to think about it from this perspective. It's best to get what you can and go down. A lot of times you see a lot of, some of the kids throwing the ball, trying to get those extra yards, trying to fight for those extra yards. But what they're doing is they don't see what's coming, on their blind side. So sometimes, it's best to go down and live to fight another day or get into the end zone. The objective is to get into the end zone and put yourself in a position to where, hey, look, you pretty much got the defense at its mercy, and you're forcing the offense, the opponent's offense, to do something that they're not accustomed to doing. Again, this game, if you looked at the final score, this game was misleading, or the final score was misleading. This could have been a more impressive win than what the final score showed last night.
Yep. And what I can accept the same thing is the turnovers, right?
Right.
This is another week of having 2 offensive turnovers. We
Right.
have to clean it up. Like you said, in the pregame and in our film study, like you said, one of the things that I was saying, the main thing that we got to do is jump out early, right?
Right.
Get up 2 scores. That way, by that, the offense can help the defense stop their run game, right? To make them have
Right.
to play from behind. The defense did exactly what we asked them to, right? We scored
Right.
on the first drive. The defense got us a 3 and out. And on that drive, we were driving all the way down to our 10-yard line, had a chance to go up 14 and put pressure on. And we fumbled the ball, which kept them in the game,
Yeah,
right?
it
And
did.
so it did. Defense played, great, and defense was playing complementary football, and they actually was covering the offense after those turnovers, right? They actually made a stop after that. Then after the interception, where we could have put the game away when we were in position to go up 21, we throw an interception in the red zone down there on
Right.
10-yard line. And guess what the defense do? The defense get an interception to get us the ball back, and we go down and we go up 3 scores. But again, like when you have the opportunity to I hate to say this, but put your foot on the opponent's throat, you have to
You
do
have
it.
to. You have to.
Go ahead and close the game out, take their will away, right? We go up 14 there in the early first half. Like now they're panicking. They're going to be doing a lot of stuff that they don't normally do, trying to go to the air more. Especially in that third quarter, we would have went up 3 touchdowns. That would have been that would have been a game. The game
Oh yeah.
wasn't never in question, but I'm saying that would have definitely been, the straw that broke the camel back. The other thing is, shout outs to the defense, right? Every game, our defense has been heavily penalized. Before the game, I preferenced that Michigan was the least penalized team in the Big Ten. We were the most penalized team. Most of our penalties every game have been coming on the defensive side of the ball, right? Pass
Right.
interference, hands to the face, jumping offside. Defense did not get any penalties game. As a team, we only had two penalties, and both was on the opposite side. Had a false start and a personal foul by Makai Lemon. But as a coach, okay, one false start I can live with that, but the personal foul penalty, you have to stay composed, right? We're beating this team. Yes, they're going to try to egg you into do stuff like that because they needed all the help that they can get, right? And we gave into it. So we got to be mentally tough. We have to be smart. We have to, harness that physicality and aggression we're playing with and not give them a free 15 yards. Because if you can remember what happened, I stated it earlier. What happened is Makai Lemon caught a deep ball on sideline and they caught it incomplete. But as we seen, it was really a catch, and no one challenged it. No one they didn't buzz down and look at it, which was strange. And we went on to the next play. Then he gets that 15-yard penalty. Now we was in third and 22, right? We was able to overcome that, but that's not a situation you want to put yourself in these type of games. So again, it's going to go back to cleaning up penalties. If it's an effort penalty, okay, but these are dead ball penalties, right? Clean up the dead ball penalties. The last thing is, and like I said, the team played fantastic. We're nitpicking here. You know what I'm saying? In the defensive backfield, we just got to make sure we take the right angles and tackle people down. We talked about that deep bomb that he got for 68 yards in the cover 2. It was just a good play design for a cover 2. That area is what's open in between that flat curl corner and that safety that has that deep half. I mean, the safety was there. You just got to make sure you make the tackle, right? If he made the catch, okay, make the tackle. That was a 15 to 20 yard, you know what I'm saying, completion, and they got to take more time off the clock and continue to work their way down the field. Just make the tackle. And for the most part, all night our defensive backs, you know, tackle well, you know, and I heard somebody say it was a busting coverage. It wasn't a busting coverage.
No, he just didn't break down. He just didn't break down when he got
make the tackle, right. You just gotta make the tackle. All right. On to our next segment, our fight on play of the game. Name your play of the game. Drum roll, please.
My play of the game, there was a lot in the game, but I have to say it was that final interception by Fitzgerald. It pretty much sealed away everything. You know, pretty much put the nail in the coffin. This kid has been playing at a high clip, and our impact players of the game. And I said that on the defensive side, it really depends on which defensive front we run, whether or not we run the 4-3 or the 4-2-5. So I picked for the 4-2-5. I picked Fitzgerald as my impact player of the game. So he pretty much came through. But that kid has been playing ball all season long. You know, he's had some mishaps. He's a transfer, and I want to say he came from NC State, right? I think the DB came from NC State, but he has proven to be one of the more important pickups on the season. So for me, my play of the game was that second interception by Fitzgerald.
All right. This was tough. This was tough for me, right?
Right.
Because of but I think I wanted to go with what I just prefaced. I wanted to go with King Miller 49-yard run on 3rd and 22 because we didn't get the completion, which we should have got, and they didn't review it. And then Lemmy got the personal foul, and you know we ended up throwing an interception after that. But I'm going to give my play of the game to Ryan Seary in that 54-yard field goal. And the reason I'm giving that the play of the game is because, like I just said, we threw a pick down there. They go all the way downfield. I was going to go with Fitzgerald first interception, right? Because at that time, think about it, we was up 14. We throw a pick in on red zone. They're going down the field. They're on our side of the field. Fitzgerald picks the ball up at the 10-yard line, right? They score there. It's a 7-point game. I was going to go with that, but after Fitzgerald pick, we went down there and we stalled out due to a penalty, right? And we had to go backyards and behind the sticks. And Makai Lemon, lucky enough, got us some, not lucky enough, but gracious enough, got us some yards on the wide receiver screen on that 3rd down. But Ryan's that kick was big to go up 17. Oh yeah, that really put the pressure on them, you know, late in the 3rd quarter for us to have a 17-point lead or 3-score lead. So I'm going to give my play of the game to our field goal kicker, Ryan Seary. I think that was the biggest difference. Like we finally was able to go 3 scores and put pressure on them. They even showed Riley on the sideline and in emotion.
He was excited, man. He was excited.
Man. Right. Yeah. We both were talking on the live like, well, it's too far to go for it on 4th down. Do you go for it or are you going to punt? We both was like, well, we're going to punt and make them go the length of the field, right? And then we go. Then you say, wait, we kicking a field goal? I was like 54 yards. I'm like, man. And he nailed it right down the middle with room to spare. So our fight on play of the game, for me, is going to be Ryan Seary. For B Jinx, it's going to be Bishop Fitzgerald. I'm sorry. So congratulations to both players for the 4th and 9 to victory play of the game. All right, moving on to our next segment. We talked about the play of the game. Now we're going to get into our Trojan Horse impact players of the game.
I'll let you go first on this one.
All right, one on offense and one on defense. The Trojan Horse impact players of the game. So for me, I'm pretty sure we might have the same.
I bet we do. That's why I'm letting you go first.
Offensively, it's going to be simple. King Miller. Right? What King Miller was able to do, you know, this is he's a walk-on. He did have scholarship offers from other schools, but he wanted to be a USC Trojan, so he walked on the USC. Fourth on the depth chart. We seen the brilliance from him in earlier games and blowouts and what he can do in his speed and break the long run. But what he did yesterday, he came in not only with just his long runs, but he was on third and short and things like that. I mean, he was dragging two people. He was getting the tough yards in between the tackles. He had 18 carries for 158 yards with an 8.8 average and a touchdown, right? This kid balled out. He had 3 runs of 30 yards or more, which really put the nail in Michigan's coffin, man. Like I said, that third down play where we had 3rd and 22 and he goes for 49 yards. Oh, my man. It flipped the whole field and everything, right? So I'm going to give him my player of the game. And defensively, got to go with Bishop, man. Bishop Fitzgerald, 2 interceptions, a sack. On that sack, he came from a safety blitz at safety depth and ran Underwood down. So, and the desire was there to go get him. So for my Trojan Horse impact players of the game, I'm going with King Miller and Bishop Fitzgerald.
All right, let me get right into it. I'm going to go 2 different players since you took my 2. All right. On offense, I'm going to say B. Jackson. I'm going to say for one reason. He was willing to step in second half and help his team out. His team needed, him. King Miller had been carrying the load, shouldering the load. Kid had 18 carries for 158 for above 58 and a touchdown. And like my running mate Chris said, he had a lot of long runs, so this kid was kind of like gassed. And B. Jack, hey, look, the coaching staff checked with the NCAA. B. Jack went right back there, got suited up, came right in and did what? Scored a touchdown. So on offense, I'm going to say B. Jackson. But I want to go back to King real quick before I get to my defensive player, right? This is what I call, and you mentioned something about he had offers from other schools, and he's a pretty good running back. He had offers from other schools, but chose to come to SC. This is what I call betting on yourself. Not only did he have offers from other schools, he was 4th on the depth chart to start off the season, right? Behind Waymo, behind Eli, behind B. Jack. This kid was pretty much a walk-on, right? But he gambled on himself. He came to SC, and all it takes is for what? Two running backs to go down and a third to be out. And look at him. On one of the biggest stages, NBC primetime game, the kid shines. Now the nation, the country knows who King Miller is. We knew where he was from the first game, but nobody else knew who this kid was. Now this kid has what you call motion right now. So shout out to King Miller for that performance. On the defensive side of the game, defensive side of the ball, Fitzgerald has already been taken heck of a player, but I'm going to go All-American linebacker, Eric Gentry. He's been the captain of this defense, in my opinion. Making timely tackles, knocking balls loose for fumbles, when players are going into the end zone, when I'm referencing back to the Illinois game, and giving us the opportunity to either get back in the game or take control of the game by his effort plays. I spoke about effort in one of our videos, right? When we talked about the team looking slow, and we'll get into that in another video, but there is no substitution for effort. When your back is against the wall, when you seem defeated, and there's no way out of your situation defensively, you're getting gashed. But I see a player like Eric Gentry still giving 110% effort, and for me, that puts him amongst the best, if not one of the better linebackers, not just in this conference, but in the country. So for me, it's going to be Eric Gentry.
All right, man. And another good thing about King Miller is that he wanted to be a Trojan, which is why he didn't take those other scholarships and said, I'll walk on and bet on myself. Right. Those are the type of kids you want in your program.
Oh, yeah.
He wants to be a Trojan. Him and his twin brother are on the team. He wants to be a Trojan. He wants to be there, right? That lets you know he's in state. That's why you recruit your home state. You win the recruiting battles in your own state and keep your best players because they play with a different type passion, right? That's why you do that. So most definitely. All right. So congratulations to King Miller, Bishop Fitzgerald, Brian Jackson, and Eric Gentry. I do want to say I I was close to going with Devin Tompkins, but it was hard to go against Bishop Fitzgerald with
Yeah,
a
it's
sack
real
and
hard.
2 interceptions because
Right.
Devin Tompkins had 2 sacks himself, and
Okay.
that's amazing. But shout out to King Miller, Bishop Fitzgerald, Brian Jackson, and Eric Gentry as our Trojan Horse impact players of the game. All right. Moving right along. It is that time, ladies and gentlemen, our 4 down segment. All right. First down. What did you learn, if anything, about this USC football team from the game versus Michigan yesterday?
I learned that the nation's perception of USC football is not what they think it is. Um, for the longest, we've been the team has been called soft, not able to play in the trenches amongst the Big Ten. But I've learned that hey, look, this team is resilient, man. And I not mischaracterized. I'm sorry, but misjudged them on a couple of weeks ago. And now it's seeming a little more real. And I'm not putting any. I'm not accusing Illinois team per se of any mischievous behaviors, but it does seem a little more logical now that the team was pretty much under the weather or under certain limitations due to whatever they had to eat that was served at for the team meals. But I learned that this team is actually defensively better than what we thought it was, especially when their backs up against the wall. You have to realize that this was a big game for them. This everybody was watching. National stage, stadium packed, and they went out and they performed, man. Not only that, that defensive line, man, was violent, was at the point of contact. So everybody expected for Michigan to come in and push around our defensive line, push around our offensive line, and it was the other way around. Shout out to the O-line coach. What is it, Hanson or Henson? Which one is it? Shout out to the offensive line coach, man. Like I said, we've lost some key contributors, some key positions. We lost a center, which is the quarterback of that offensive line. We've lost a All-American left tackle, and we just plug and play, and we just keep chugging on along. So shout out to the offensive line coach. But I've learned that this team is a lot better than what we really anticipated, especially on the defensive side of the ball.
All right. First thing that I learned is that our development, right? The coach's development of these players at USC is real. You look at the depth on the offensive line and who's playing on the offensive line. John Reed, the only transfer in. Everybody else was recruited by USC, coached up, and trained. And the reason we're able to plug and play on the offensive line is due to the development of those players. Our running back position, the 2 guys that came in, recruited, developed by USC, right? That came in and didn't miss a beat. This all goes to the development. The defensive line, everybody outside Silver, Jared didn't even really play, but everybody outside of Silver, recruited, developed by USC, right? So this shows me that the development of these players, these NFL coaches that we have on the defensive side, and the development is real. That these coaches can develop players, right?
Right.
We have young players, and we got to trust the process, that especially on the outside and corner, that the development is going to come, right? These coaches are showing at all positions that the development is real. The other thing I learned is that we have the best offense in the country. There's only one defense I've seen in the country that can stop us. Who do you think that is?
If I had to pick, I would probably say maybe I would say either Indiana or Ohio State.
I got you. That was a trick question. There's not a defense in the country that can stop us. The only defense.
Slow us down.
Yeah, the only defense in the country that can stop USC offense is USC offense. If you look at the whole season, the only time we've been stopped is because of a turnover.
Right. That's true.
No one has been able to slow us down. No one has been able to sustain stops and things like that against us. Whenever we get stopped, it's due to a fumble or interception. It's due to, and it's not like it was a scheme interception yesterday. He trying to throw the ball away inside. the field of play where he should have just chunked it into the bleachers. He was outside the pocket. The fumble, that was just a freak accident. Oh, dude, he never seen him coming. He running full speed, and defensive back is running full speed from his blind side. He never seen him coming. Against Illinois, the fumble, same thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, no one has been able to really slow this offense down besides this offense. So if offense comes out and just get rid of the turnovers, I don't see anybody stopping this offense. This offense has performed consistently at a high level all year. Second thing I learned again, and it just sustained my belief: best wide receiver duo in the country.
Yeah,
best wide receiver duo in the country. Lemon Lane, kind of like lemonade. Lemon Lane. You know what I'm saying? Best wide receiver in country. Riley, top play caller, right? Top play caller in his bag. Every week he comes out with a game plan, and the defense just do not have an answer for it. He has a response for everything. And what I love to see is that the things we break down in our film study, and then the game starts, and we immediately see it right off the back, and we be like, we talked about this. They're doing it. We talked about throwing into the blitz. They heavy on the blitz, right? Throw a screen into the blitz. We ran screen after screen after screen into their overload blitz. We killed them. Another thing I learned is what we've been asking for. What we asked for against Illinois prior to that game. What we asked for against Michigan State is not only load the box, but go to a 3-man linebacker set. Go to a 4-3. As well as when we go to a 4-3, if you remember when we broke down film, I said when we need to play a 4-3, and when we go to the 4-3, we use Eric Gentry as that queen as in chess. We line him up on the edge when we want to go a 5-man front and let him come off the edge. Eric Gentry had 2 or 3 tackles where he was on the edge, where he was just able to shoot down with his thin body and hit the running back in the backfield. I also learned that USC can play Big Ten, play physical football. We beat Michigan at Michigan's game, right? We beat them up front on both sides of the ball, totally dominated them. We can play physical football. The last thing I learned is that, again, I preface this on the live, right? It's not an excuse. We lost. We got beat bad. The defense didn't look good. The defensive line didn't look good. The linebackers didn't look good. But at the end of the day, when we did our video last week, we didn't have a notion of – we knew Ramsey was out for food poisoning. We knew a few of our big-time players on defensive line, our bigger bodies, didn't play, right? We didn't know the severity. Shout-outs to USC. They didn't use it as an excuse. They didn't put anything out. But Riley did come out and say that, guys were sick. USCJ broke the news. Shout out to USCJ, right?
Yes,
to how sick these guys was on the sideline from talking to parents and all that. So last week when we made our video, we didn't have that information. Yes, we did go into the offensive line, but even after getting that breaking news about the food poisoning, I still wanted to see how we performed this week against Michigan. And from the first drive of our defense, we both said there's validity that these kids are sick against Illinois, because there's no way you get this much better in 2 weeks, right? There was something obviously wrong with the Illinois game, and yes, the defense was sick. And I can tell you, if USCJ breaks something, you better believe it, because he has all the inside scoop out of anybody, right? To players, parents, everything, and he's never going to put out anything that false. So, not making an excuse for us losing against Illinois, but I'm saying the validity of our people being sick and that food poisoning that they got from the caterer that Friday was absolutely fact, right? Right. Right. All right. So let's go on to second down. What was the biggest difference that you've seen in the USC defense yesterday than what you've seen previously this year?
The effort. I get straight to it. The effort. These kids came out defensively, man, and like you prefaced it earlier on the show, that the first defensive drive was a 3-and-out. That's what we haven't seen, pretty much almost the entire season was 3-and-outs. We had maybe 1 or 2 here sprinkled there. I think you mentioned something like we had one against Georgia Southern, but outside of that, right?
Yesterday we had 3 or 4 3-and-outs by the defense, and that's more than we've had combined the whole season.
The whole season. So the effort, the sense of urgency that came out with the team. I expected for Riley, to have his bag together. Don't get me wrong, especially when you got weapons like he has on the offensive side. When you talk about use of the tight ends, use of the running backs out of the backfield on screen plays, and our receivers throwing timely um, tunnel screens or what we call jailbreak screens on the outside. So I wasn't worried about that. It was more so of what you and I have been discussing all season long about the defense coming out, not giving up more than four yards to carry, which can impact, how the defense is called. So going to the 4-3 when we've been calling for when especially you, like Chris called for it a couple of weeks ago, go to the 4-3 because it's going to be more conducive to playing in the Big Ten, especially when you're going against those big against those big offensive linemen. So for me, it's a sense of urgency and the effort. No one wanted to win this game more, I would say, than the defense because of what their perception has been about them so far this season. Here we are midway through the season right now with 5-1, could easily be 6-0. Again, that's questionable about what happened out there in Champaign, but this defense looked totally different, and I look for this to give them even more confidence, especially going on the road. When
Hold on, hold on.
Yeah,
don't go too far now. I don't want you to. I don't
Yeah,
want you to
I
run
know.
your third down.
All right. So to me, it's going to be the effort and the urgency of the defense.
Yeah, I ain't want you to ruin your third down and have to repeat yourself.
Okay, I got you.
You're about to go into third down.
All
right. So the biggest difference that I seen as well is that it's the defensive effort. And like I said on the live, I apologize to the kid because I was one of the biggest ones. Just like, man, we got to play better. We got to do a better performance on defensive line. You can't be getting pushed 4 and 5 yards back. But again, not an excuse. But we do, and we did find out about the food poisoning, and to me, it's validity in that those kids was sick. And I think the effort that they gave yesterday was a lot better because they was healthy, right? I don't know if anybody else has had food poisoning. Man, it's hard to play a football game with food poisoning. It had me in a fetal position, right? I ain't even I couldn't get out of bed, man. Food poisoning is for real, but it's the effort from the front to back, the sense of urgency they play with, the physicality, right? This is the most. Yesterday was the most physical that I've seen us play with all year. Again, the biggest difference is what we've been calling for, right? They switched to a 4-3 defense. They put 3 linebackers on the field, and Jaden Walker was coming downhill like a man possessed, right? And by going to that 4-3, it took Eric Gentry out of that stand-up linebacker position. We was able to now Deontay Lynn was able to use him as a queen, like in chess. He was all over the place, line him up on the edge, drop him in coverage, send him on the blitz. You know what I mean? Where Gentry is most effective at. So that's the biggest difference is that switch to the 4-3 defense away from that 4-2-5. You remember I was talking about it a couple of weeks ago that, man, this 4-2-5 just not working for us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's
not working. We have to go to the 4-3. Ramsey moving back at safety made a huge difference.
Huge difference.
Even in the run game, because now he was able to come up and fill gaps, and he was coming up quick. You know what I'm saying? He was able to coach. You could see we had our young freshman, true freshman in there. He was a little confused. Ramsey was the one trying to line him up. Went to him, let him know what he did. Not getting on to him, but just being a big brother like he's supposed to. Now back at his safety position, he can communicate with everybody in front of him. When he's at the nickel, he was a great nickel as well, but what you lose is that communication piece that can talk to everybody. Because if you're in the nickel, there's people behind you, there's people beside you. You're trying to diagnose the play. It's much harder for you to turn around and talk to people than if everybody's in front of you. And so moving Ramsey back to the safety, that made a huge difference. So it was a defensive effort with them being healthy and not being sick, going to the 4-3 defense, and Ramsey going back to the safety position. That was the biggest difference that I seen in the physical play and the physicality that the defense played with than what we seen. All right, let's move on. Third down. The defense we seen against the defense we seen against Michigan yesterday. Can we expect this going forward? And was the Illinois game an anomaly? I got third down. I think we can expect to see this defense going forward. I do think that the Illinois game, was an anomaly because offensive line, Michigan is better than Illinois up front. We talked about it already, not making excuses for the loss. We didn't get it done against Illinois, but there is validity that these kids were really, these kids were sick, and that food poisoning is for real, right? Once we recorded our videos and lives, we got word during the week. Riley confirmed it. He said it might not have been 180 guy, like as big as what everyone's making it out, but there were definitely more people than Ramsey that was sick. We know Ramsey didn't play. Again, we know our beef on the defensive line didn't get in. Like we seen Floyd Picard this game. We didn't see Floyd Picard against Illinois. Tell me why when he's one of our best. You know what I'm saying? That these kids were really dealing with food poisoning and some sick. So I do think the Illinois game was a one-off. The reason, and another reason I say that, because outside of the Illinois game, from our defense and defensive line, we've seen what we have seen all year outside of the Illinois game, where teams have had the ability to run on us, but in spurts, right? But we were able to counteract that with sacks and able to counteract that with tackles for loss, right? That's what we were doing all the way up to the Illinois game. Then all that stopped. And so out of 6 games, if one is different, you got to count that one as the anomaly, right?
Right.
So I think that
I say I agree.
Yeah, and like though we were still giving up yards here and there on the ground and big plays on the ground. I mean, we've seen that all year, but what we also seen all year outside of the Illinois game was sacks and tackles for loss to combat that, as you always say, right? To come back to those yards, and we seen that yesterday against Michigan, which is a great run heavy team, averaging over 200 yards a game, and we was able to hold them to 109 yards. So I'm going to take the one game that we didn't get those sacks and we didn't get tackles for loss. I'm going to take that game as the anomaly, and I'm going to say going forward, we can expect the defense that we've seen, and that Illinois game was just a one-off.
Yeah, I'm gonna echo that. I do expect for our defense to continue with its success. One of the main reasons, as you pointed out earlier, was moving Ramsey back to the safety. That way, he can see the entire defense as opposed to trying to make adjustments at the line, trying to make sure the people behind him are also properly aligned, and just having that experience back there. As long as we can stay healthy, that's going to be the key. If we are midway through the season, we're coming up on a meat of our schedule. We're going to be facing some tough teams, some tough offensive lines, some people that like to sling that rock around the yard. So I do expect for us to continue to have that success, especially along the defensive line, man. I was so impressed with that defensive line on yesterday, man. Them being physical at the point of attack. Like I said, Michigan thought that they were going to come in and bully us inside the Coliseum. That was the perception. A lot of these pundits, a lot of these platforms, that's all they talked about, how Michigan was going to push us around. You got the Paul Feinbaums, you got the what's his name, Dave Portnoy's. You got all of these guys talking about how much more physical Michigan was going to be than USC, because USC is this West Coast's Pac-12 team, so they don't stand a chance in the trenches, and all we are known for is skill positions, and this is big boy football. Well, again, that game could have been a lot worse than what it was yesterday if we take care of the ball. But defensively, I was thoroughly impressed. We had one breakdown to where, like we talked about earlier, where the safety didn't get to the receiver and break down. He pretty much tried to run through him, and I think he just misjudged him. So in a situation like that, you got to use the sideline as your second defender. Use the sideline as your second defender, and push that guy out of bounds. So I'm going to say yes.
Sure. All right. Moving right along. 4th down. 4th and 9 to victory. You guys all know the deal by now. We don't ever punt. We go for it, right?
Oh, yeah.
This is 4th and 9 to victory, baby. So here we are. How important was this USC victory to the season to Coach Riley in the future of the program? So 3 things, and I'm gonna keep it short and sweet so we can move on. One, it's important to the season because we control our own destiny. Right now, we're 3rd in the Big Ten, right? Illinois lost yesterday to Ohio State. Now they got 2 losses, right? that's big because they had beat us to the head-to-head. So if we ended up with the same record, they will get the nod over us. There's only 2 teams undefeated in the Big Ten right now, which is Ohio State, Indiana. So everyone is going to be vying for that 3rd and 4th spot to possibly make the playoffs. And again, we control our own destiny. Oregon has 1 loss in Big Ten play. We play Oregon. We handle our business against Oregon. We're in that 3rd slot, right? I don't see Indiana or Ohio State losing to anybody else that's remaining on their schedule because Penn State has completely fell off, right? And so right now, that 3rd position is coming down to us, Nebraska, and Illinois. We just got to make sure we don't end up with the same loss record as Illinois because they'll have a head over us. But we play Nebraska, right? Nebraska has 1 Big Ten loss, and they lost to. I can't remember who Nebraska lost to. Did they lose to Indiana?
I think it was Indiana.
Okay, I can't remember who. No, they lost to Michigan.
They lost to Michigan. Yeah, Illinois lost to Indiana.
No, Illinois lost to Indiana and Ohio State. So they got 2 losses. But Nebraska lost to Michigan, right? So we still control our own destiny. We play Nebraska. We beat them. We don't have to worry about that. That'll be their 2nd loss. And at that point, we still just have 1 loss, so we'll be a game ahead of them. We beat Michigan to the head-to-head. Michigan only has 1 conference loss, but and that's to us. So again, we have that over them. And so it was big for the season because, we're still in this thing, right? And we control our own destiny. As long as we handle our business on the field, we will be in the playoffs, right? At least we'll be 3rd. Is it possible that the top 4 teams in the Big Ten make the playoffs? It's possible. They have 4 teams last year, just depending on how many losses that 4th place team got. If you get 3 losses, that 4th place team is not going to make it. Right. But with 2 wins, with two losses, as that 4th seed in the Big Ten, you can get in there. But we're vying for that 3rd place. Like I said, we don't play Indiana, we don't play Ohio State, so we don't have no control over that. I don't see Ohio State losing to Michigan. I don't see Indiana losing to anyone on their schedule unless they get upset. I just don't see it. So those 2 teams are most likely going to be playing in the Big Ten championship. But if we win out, we would definitely be, the 3rd seed as it stands in the Big Ten, and we can make a playoff run. The win was important to Riley because now it just hushed up the national narrative that his teams can't play physical football, right? We beat Michigan at their own game. We beat them in the trenches. We held them to 109 rush yards while we ran for 225, right? We dominated the trenches. And that's what the Michigan fans are more shocked about, and they're mad at their coaches. And now they want to fire all their coaches. That's just college football fans. You know what I'm saying? And Michigan podcasters need to get it right. It wasn't our 3rd string running back. It was our 4th string walk-on running back. Let's get it straight that ran rabbit over you guys, right? Our 3rd string running back dressed up at mid-3rd quarter and came out and killed y'all too. So, but still, it was the 4th string. But as a national narrative all week, man, for so long, everybody, USC can't play physical football. USC soft. They surfers. They can't do this and this. So for Riley and the impression of his team and what people have been saying on a national level, this game was big, right? He can't beat a decent Big Ten team. He can't beat a good top Big Ten team, right? He did that. His teams can't play physical discipline football. Did that. Only two penalties. Did that, right? Out physical. For the future of this program, it was big because of recruiting. We know how massive the recruiting list was that was at the game. And for them to come in and see how electric the Coliseum was and the torch to be lit at the 4th quarter and a maxed out, sold out crowd, and all you seen was cardinal and yellow, and for the team to put on the performance that they did, man, it goes well for recruiting. We had 26 recruit there. We had 27, and those kids are like, man, I want to be part of this. This is the environment I want to be part of. And then to put the product on the field to go with the atmosphere, this was a big win.
Oh yeah. I want to agree with you, partner. Huge win. Like I said, for one, it was done on a national stage. It was done during prime time. We had a 6:30 kickoff Eastern slot, which means there was 7:30 on the East Coast. You had people still awake to watch the game, and it was on a national channel, NBC. You alluded to the number of the number of recruits that was there as well. Watching the Coliseum being packed for a big game like that against Michigan, and when you look at the landscape of college football, the direction we're headed, that you're going to see more primetime matchups like this. Can we put the product on the field? Can we develop the product? You also mentioned something about the development of the players by the coaches, which is what recruits want to see. They don't just, I agree, NIL is good. NIL is good. Playing time is good, but development is better. Why? Because your ultimate goal is to do what? Get to the next level. So again, for the recruiting, but we had one of our listeners to call in, one of our subscribers to call in, and I'm going to talk about impression for a minute and the attitude of the program. We had one of our listeners, subscribers to call in, maybe even put a message in the chat saying that Michigan in the fourth quarter was trying to gather at the center of the field, and USC players wasn't having it. That goes a long way as well. The perception of the program. Not only are we going to stop this narrative about college football, about us being a soft team from the West Coast, and we're going to prove it with our play on the field mentally. The optics of it, we're not going to let you come out here and stand on the middle. We don't care what you do on any other field, but you're not going to do it on this field.
Not in the college, baby.
Not in the college.
You're not
in Michigan. Yeah, you're not going to come here and be disrespectful. Your coach was already disrespectful all week long. We're not going to let you come out here. So that was a mind game that it was trying to do, trying to get them back into it. But the optics of it, for the fans and the recruits to see Michigan being pushed off of the middle of the field. Even if we have to come out here and get a little more chippy than what we expected to do, you're not going to be disrespectful to us in our own house. So that bode well. Again, we had one of the more extensive and more impressive recruiting weekends, recruiting days that we could have ever hoped for, and the product was on the field. We showed in the results, and I think more so than anything that was more impressive and more important than just winning that game in the fashion that we wanted in.
And I was tickled because I just wanted to hear what the Michigan podcaster that was talking all that stuff. I wanted to hear what they had to say, and I wasn't surprised. I looked in the comments. I seen you had a comment for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did.
I said, I'm not surprised to see you here. Why am I not surprised to see you here?
I was trying to find as many Michigan platforms as I could, man.
Hey, I see you had a per their statement what the coach said. I know that had you fired up even on our film study and everything. So you've been bothered by that all week. You was like, no,
he was trying to be. That was a slight, that was a shot at us. You understand what I'm saying? Talking about we couldn't sell out the college because our issues with selling out the college. And the only reason why we sold tickets was because they would come to town. Well, thank you for showing up. Let me give a message to Sharon Moore. Thank you for selling out the college for us, because they witnessed a BTA.
Yes.
They witnessed a BTA in that game. So thank you, Sharon Moore, for selling out the college for us. We appreciate that, because you know how many recruits saw y'all get beat down.
Right.
You know how many viewers across the country saw y'all got beat down. You know how many of your fans was out there at the college, see you get beat down and have to leave the game early in shame. So thank you, Sharon Moore. Your fans are talking about getting rid of you because of that beat down you took by these soft West Coast players.
Hey, those Michigan fans, and TV so messy because it's like, and the Michigan fans are starting to head out.
Right, starting to head out.
They showed them heading out. So what'd you say? Hey, thank you for selling out the college. You help with the environment. Yeah,
thank you. Here on 4th and 9, we say thank you, Sharon Moore, for selling out the college for us. Thank you.
Well, man, a lot to talk about, man. So that was great. That was our fourth down question. Before we get out of here and I get on our next slide, which is just going to take a second. I don't know if you guys, if you're not, man, hit that bell notification on our scouting report, breakdown, film study. B. Jones had a great message for the team, right? And his message to the team. I don't know if they heard it or not, but they played like they heard it, right? Because they answered his request, they answered his bell. So just real quick, I did want to pass it over to B Jinx to just like recap what his message was to the team and how they accomplished it.
Yeah. So during the week, man, I challenged them. After we had a lot of fans, including myself, and then we came back and we offered an apology, but a lot of fans, including myself, felt some kind of way. We felt like the national perception of SC wasn't what it used to be. Of course, we haven't won in a while, but still, though, we're a legitimate blue blood, and for a lot of the pundits and platforms to continue to be disrespectful about the program. The polls always kicking us out of the the coaches in the AP polls, voters always kicking us out of the polls every time we lose one game, but keeping other teams in. And if you're a USC player, man, you got to have some pride about yourself. So my message was to the team was
don't forget about the national media and everything.
There's national media and our physicality, and how they're going to push us around, and they look forward to playing SC and putting us on their schedule as their homecoming game. Listen, if you're an SC player, man, and you're tired of being disrespected, you're tired of these coaches being disrespectful, you're tired of players being disrespectful, the media, do something about it, man. They're calling you soft. I challenged them. Hey, man, I don't know if they heard it or not, but like my running mate Chris said, they play like they heard it. If you're sick of it, you're sick of the challenge, you're sick of the disrespect, do something about it. That's all you got to do. Let your attitude reflect your play on the field. Be physical on the field. I bet you who won't call you soft again? Michigan won't call you soft again. And anytime somebody get fly at the mouth and want to disrespect you, don't come out, and show any type of respect toward the program. Again, USC is a national brand. That helmet is a national helmet, and they're blue blood for a reason. Sure, we haven't won the championships here lately to back that up, but we go out there and compete. But again, any player that's worried about, even with some of our platforms, some of our USC platforms, and I'm not going to mention any names. They know who they are, but they've been disrespectful too. Mm-hmm. So now that we show that we can play big boy football, we show that we can be more physical at the point of attack, especially in the trenches, and look for this team to get better every week, especially with our young talent like Thanos, Jakeem Stewart, who always makes an impactful play every game. That kid is 17, 18 years old, really supposed to be playing another year of high school football, but he's down there in the trenches with young men, 19, 20, 21 years old, and they're getting busy.
Wait. This 2025 football, some of them probably 25, 26.
Right. Exactly. I forgot. They give them 8 and 9 years to play. But down there getting busy amongst those grown men. So shout out to Thanos, man. But this team is only going to get better. Shout out to Floyd Bucard, another true freshman down there getting busy amongst those. Listen, in the next 2-3 years, man, that defensive front going to be dangerous. It's going to be dangerous.
Especially with what's coming in on the 26 class too.
Yeah, especially what they're backing up with. So again, man, if you feeling disrespected, man, you tired of people calling you soft, man, I challenge the team. They answered the call to do something about it, and they did it. And for that, I want to give honorable mention to that entire front defensive line, man, for the game.
Yeah. And they definitely beat Charleston, do something about it, and they went out there and they did it. They did something about it. And so shout outs to the defensive coaching staff, right? Deontay Lynn and team and the defensive players, they came out and they played, right? They shown us that Illinois was just a one-off game, for whatever reason. I do believe that, we all know what went down, right? About the food poisoning and things. Right. And so shout out to him. Deontay Lynn got out there 4-2-5 and went to 4-3 linebackers, which we've been asking for. Right. And so shout out to that defensive coaching staff. Shout out to that defense. You can even see it in the game. Deontay Lynn was pumped up. right? When they made a stop, he was, you could see it in his face. He was pumped, telling the guys, come on, let's go. That's what I'm talking about. You know what I mean?
Right,
So,
right.
well, definitely. That is going to conclude our recap. USC Trojans versus the Michigan Wolverines. USC was victorious, 31-13. The team definitely did something about it. They did,
Right.
and we loved it, and we were all pumped. And man, so that concludes our recap. Next live announcement. This Saturday coming up.
Oh yeah.
Possibly for the last time. Don't know if we're gonna get that contract extension or not with Notre Dame or what's going on there. But we will be playing Notre Dame. That game will be kicking off at 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 CSE. As B said again, a national game, right? It's gonna be on NBC. You can find it on NBC and Peacock. 4th to 9 will be going live at 6 p.m. Central. The first 30 minutes, giving some injury updates, discussing a little thing about the game. And the game will kick off at 6:30. We'll be here live. Again, you guys will be able to call in to the show, comment as we break down the game, as we're watching the game, as we do every Saturday, right? So make sure you hit that bell, subscribe, like, and share. On Tuesday, we'll be releasing our position grades per this Michigan game. And then on Thursday, we'll be coming out with our film study review on Notre Dame. So please, man, we thank everybody for your support. Make sure you like, share, comment in the video. Keep the algorithm going. Again, as we are a new channel, we just started at the beginning of the season, the first game going live. We seen something missing in the USC podcast environment, so we was like, hey, let's start going live during the game, right? And letting people call in, interact with fans across the world. We watch the game together. We're going to break it down schematically. We're going to share what we see, allow people to share what they see. From that, we have, so like I said, shout out to Tobias, Baby T. They call in live from the game, for you guys with footage of the stadium. We was able to see how packed the stadium was, to see all the Cardinal and gold, right? So we'll definitely. So before we get out of here, B, man, you got anything else you want to say?
Just subscribe, share, bell for notification.
All right. Again, man, thank you guys for all your support. Like, share, subscribe, and comment. Until look for that video to come out Tuesday for position grades, film study review on Thursday. And as always, to later on, Trojan family, hey, USC, physical, dominant performance over the University of Michigan, 31-13. Hey, fight on, fight on.
Fight on.